You're here! Rabbi, let's start!
L'chaim, Richard, and Diane. Normally, I would have the privilege of being able to say L'chaim with you in person. This year, we're doing it virtually. As this year, we were able to find different ways, creative ways, of being able to remain open. But thanks to you, we were able to make this happen. I came across this email. Rabbi and Rivki, very happy Wendy and I stopped in last summer. Look forward to many years. Please let me know if I can be of any help. The Price family. The first email I got from them in the summer of 2007, they were looking for programming for their children. And our whole theme is about opening up, bringing opportunities to others. What greater couple can we honor and can stand out as Richard and Wendy Price, who are always open. This was reflected in their very first communication. How can we be of any help?
I had trepidation about going up on stage and making a speech, but it would have been a challenge that I would have liked to have had.
So, as we emerge slowly from this time spent separate, I look forward to celebrating many happy occasions and raising a glass, l'chaim.
And now, let me share with you some stories of how together we were able to remain open safely this year.
Yeah, I'm looking for one. All right.
Should I just like hide it in my pocket?
Muscle cream that you can put on.
Drop it on the floor.
All right, so
What I have to say?
you can just say, like, what's your name?
My name is Taba. My last name is Kalusetsky. I come here to United States, and after 2 months, I go to work, and I make a life.
My name is Wendy Price. I live in Wilmette. We have 3 kids.
And we have a family shoe business.
How far you want me to go back?
All right, my friends, put your arm over your friend's shoulder.
I was in Brooklyn for the International Shabbaton.
We had just gotten back from the Sitin Shabbaton in New York. Oh, there you go. And this little kiddo was about 4 weeks old, and we had heard, talk about what was going on overseas and masks in China, and we weren't really sure. But then
classes are canceled today in Wilmette. CBS 2's Eric Cox reports that a student came into contact with someone who tested positive.
And then they were like, we're just gonna shut down the school. And I was like, cool, it's just gonna be for 2 weeks, whatever.
Now I have to manage myself as well as the 2 kids working remotely.
I was gonna be very isolated in my home with my kids for an unknown amount of time.
We didn't understand what was happening at that moment, let alone what's going to be happening in the future.
One issue that we had was our middle child has autism, and all of a sudden you don't have that routine anymore. It's a challenge, it's hard.
No one really knew what was gonna happen then. So our very first, thing we had to figure out is like, how are we gonna pull off Hebrew school? It's in 24 hours. We just saw that the Ramona district shut down, so there's no way that we could be open.
We were supposed to have a birthday celebration. We were gonna sponsor a Kiddush. And that would have been on March 14th. And the rabbi wanted to go ahead, and then he wanted to go ahead, and of course he never wants to back off.
Breaking news tonight, the coronavirus forcing millions more Americans into virtual lockdown. Over 75 million people in New York, California, Illinois, and Connecticut ordered to stay at home.
The Jewish religion says that conserving health is the most important thing. So if the pandemic will say that we couldn't have 10 people, let's say, for a minyan, I think we should not do it.
Everyone realized we had to close down.
And so eerily, everything stopped. Everything became silent. What was once a center filled with children running around, young and old gathering together, schmoozing, camaraderie, everything came to a screeching halt.
Because there's no minyan, it's painful, I cannot say the Kaddish. I'll just conclude. I thank Hashem for giving me such a mother, for blessing me with such a mother. A mother whose name was Mazel. I had Mazel, and in turn you have Mazel. We need strength, we need chutzpah, but most of all we need love.
It's interesting, when you first start in Chabad, you can't talk to these people for more than 5 minutes without hearing the Rebbe. What's going on? But after a while, and now I feel this way, after a while you start to realize that this man was so brilliant and so caring that you start to understand it. And now it doesn't make the slightest, I hear it and I say, yeah.
The Rebbe taught us that there's no such thing as a setback. It's just a different opportunity. How can we stand up to the occasion? Once a week we have Shabbat, where we stop everything. We focus now, what is really truly meaningful in my life? This is our center. When I have a strong center, I could then reemerge into the rest of the week and go about doing business with greater meaning and purpose. So it seemed like this was an opportunity during the beginning of COVID. This is like a major Shabbat. Everything is stopping, but instead of just retreating and just being fearful, how could I reflect on who I am deeply? How could others be inspired to reach out and spread a message of hope?
And we saw these lawn signs popping up all over, and we said, how can we bring a positive message? And we came up with these beautiful signs that gave a glimmer of hope.
Kindness, patience, and hope is also contagious. Don't wait to catch it. Be a carrier.
And boy, did it blow up. We're proud that over 50 communities around the country, and it was actually translated into foreign languages as well, brought this sign to communities and front lawns around the world.
You know, the optimism that comes from faith is very helpful.
Faith and hope are really the only things you can have in like an experience like COVID especially. Chabad is like really a source for that. So Chabad not closing, I think, was like fundamental.
We knew from the get-go that we would have to somehow find a way to remain open.
The children look forward to Hebrew school.
I'm glad that they kept going and there wasn't really a pause.
And so for us to be able to have the Zoom option and continue, my daughter's Hebrew education has been great.
We worked online for, I think it was half a year, and then they started moving in to in-person, and I'm so grateful that they got to do that because
Everyone was losing their mind at some point during COVID. Everyone was stuck inside their house.
We realized that not only were we giving them, an experience of Judaism, but during this time, we were also providing for their social and emotional well-being.
Socializing and having fun with fellow teens and learning about Judaism on the way.
This year now we had the C-Teen-U, which is a whole new program.
I would have virtual school all day, and then I'd come and I'd see people in person, and we'd be distant. And
it's a way to connect with other teens that are also probably fairly isolated.
Alone in house, 24 hours.
Our primary concern at that point was the elderly and people that were homebound and just making sure that people were being looked out for.
So I became part of their Chabad squad or their mitzvah team, helping provide food to those who need it.
During this time, if I don't have these people, I will die. They help me a lot. A lot of people my age, where they stay alone, maybe they cannot survive. I survive. See, God help me. Rivke, many times she say, I will drive you. I stay 3-4 hours for me, like an old lady. It's amazing. I have a home where I can go.
The first holiday hit by the pandemic was Pesach.
People couldn't go to their families. And since everything was on lockdown, people were afraid to go to stores. People couldn't go to stores.
I was planning on coming here last year. They have a family dinner. We were going to come here, but we couldn't be with anybody but our immediate, my 3 kids and Richard and I.
And the volunteers that came forward to say, count us in, to bring the matzah, to bring the Seder, to bring Passover to the people.
We signed up for the matzah squad, and we just dropped off matzahs.
Like the smiles that people would have on their face when I would, walk up and knock on their door, be like, oh, thank you. Like, I really appreciate that.
They were all pleasantly surprised. I guess they weren't expecting it.
Chabad sent different people out to deliver packages.
We ordered a meal from them. They had all the accoutrements, everything for the Seder plate. And we had a Seder for 2 for the first time.
It allowed us to have our Seder at home and still learn about Passover.
My daughter and I, for Shavuot, we helped deliver hundreds of blintzes to different people within the community.
He had Rosh Hashanah outside for COVID. It was amazing. There were different shifts. They only could have so many people under that tent. His sermon, I don't even remember what his sermon was. You'd have to ask him.
We know that we had a sukkah here, that the rabbi had built one. And we drove down to just go stand in the sukkah. And as we were driving in, Rabbi Finkelstein was leaving.
This was when it was empty.
We were the only people in the sukkah. It must have been about 3 o'clock. And suddenly Rabbi Finkelstein returns to the sukkah with us. And now the 3 of us are in the sukkah. And Rabbi says, wait a minute. And he runs and he gets the lulav. And he comes back with it. And now we're in this, and this was literally the first person other than Sharon that I'd been in proximity with since the lockdown. And the next thing I know, we're singing and praying and dancing and having a glorious time in the sukkah with the rabbi.
We thought by Hanukkah, this will be over. As we got closer to Hanukkah, we realized it's not going to be over by Hanukkah.
So what do? We think outside our 4 walls. We open up our parking lot and we have events.
And using a funeral home, which is an unusual setting for something happy, is amazing.
During our Hanukkah event, people registered online to have spaces.
And we actually had 2 events because the first one was completely sold out.
There was games being played.
And really lifted everyone's spirits, honking away, flashing their lights.
We even had, during Purim, another event, which was amazing.
We really had to get creative in making it fun and festive, and how are we gonna see your costumes from the car? So we invited everyone to dress up your car. Don't just dress up yourself, dress up your cars. And it ended off with this awesome laser light show with this incredible music that really got everyone vibing.
All through the efforts of Chabad and us at Weinstein and Pizer.
Our #1 priority was to keep our children safe, but yet able to experience the holidays.
My wife passed away just a month or 2 before the pandemic started. So I spent a lot of time by myself.
Participating in these virtual programs have been really very helpful.
From a distance, you can kind of still learn and still have that connection.
Always something every week.
My wife will tease me as to what class do you have tonight, because I study Talmud on Monday night now over Zoom, and Tuesday night is Torah studies with Rabbi Moshe, and then every morning at 9 a.m., and then the JLI classes on Sundays. And
the JLI courses gives you an insight into Judaism, its practice, and its history that I never got anyplace else.
I took some classes and I participated in some daily prayers.
It became 10 times better because my father joined the Zoom, and so we had 2 generations on the Zoom, and for me to spend time with my dad has been invaluable to me.
This probably you won't put on camera, but I'm not a big Zoomer. I've learned with Rabbi Moshe at a social distance outside. To be outside and learning Torah is spectacular.
This year, we expanded our women's circle in that we began doing the Rosh Chodesh Society, which is a monthly women's class where we get together and learn. And this time it's over Zoom, and we discuss different aspects in experiencing joy.
The thing that sticks out for me was the challah bake.
And I've never done it in the past, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it this year. So I included 2 of my girlfriends, and my daughter came over. It was so much fun.
We came and picked up a great big bag with all the ingredients, all the instructions, everything pre-measured, so you really couldn't go wrong.
I even kept the recipe, and I did it another 2-3 times after that.
Before Esther Leah reached out to us about her suggestion for a bat mitzvah, I honestly didn't even think there was going to be a bat mitzvah.
And she said, you know, people's bat and bar mitzvahs aren't happening because of COVID, but if you want to come over to the Chabad with your immediate family, you can come celebrate it, you know, say a blessing, light the candles for Shabbat. And my mom brought the idea up to me, and I was so happy that it was something we were able to do. And it was one of the best experiences of my life.
Even a pandemic kept Chabad always open, and that was a blessing for us.
Not just the fact that they're always open. What I have really gravitated towards is they don't judge anyone, and they they welcome everybody.
No matter how you look, no matter how you are, they just want you to be there.
Growing up in a traditional environment, you would maybe shake the rabbi's hand, but that was it.
I grew up always idolizing rabbis as, you know, the guys up on the bima.
Rabbi's on my speed dial.
Let's have a l'chaim, raise our glasses to the rabbi and the Rebbitzin.
To rabbis, Rebbitzin, our family and friends.
On behalf of the Rebbitzin, Rabbi Moshe, and Rebbitzin Esther Leah, on everyone here at Chabad of Wilmette, to life, to a better tomorrow.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. It's thanks to my mother and credit to my mother that I am who I am. Her qualities was one of love. She was also endowed with Yiddish chutzpah. When she saw something, she didn't say something, she did something. But most of all, she cared. She cared very much. She cared for every person's needle, every person's detail. She had an enjoyment and a deep pleasure being able to do someone else a favor and bring joy to another person.